Okay, I'm gonna make this video for YouTube. Might be able to put it on I don't know, might be able to put it on TikTok also. But wow. Well, we're down from what I understand, 21 days from the election. Um wow. There is a lot to be understood about the election. Some are saying this could be the last election, this and that. I don't, I don't really believe that. But if the right one gets in office, actually, people talking about Trump talking about, how this gonna be the last election if he get in. No, he said you won't have to vote for another 4 years. He said for another 4 years. He didn't say you don't have to vote never ever again. And Trump, almost 80 years old, he ain't gonna be in no power, for the next 20 years. So you can go ahead and forget all that. But really, there are some things that do need to be understood. But the main point that I just want to really get to is what bottom line this election really is about. Bottom line, if you are a Christian, you need to understand. You need to be. We really need to be listening to, yes, God for ourselves, but we really need to be listening to the prophetic anointing right now. And the prophetic anointing, and then, well, preachers who are talking about this, but who, on the way I could put it, who understand what's really going on. I especially been loving, listening to Apostle A.R. Williams, because he has been dead on, talking about what's going on, what this election is about, being able to break down to you the agenda, the agenda that's behind what both candidates are trying to do. And I 100% am on the train with him. It's only been the last few years that I really caught on to a lot of things politically, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know all that. First, I get an understanding of the difference between Democrat and Republican, and then I began to see and understand the whole. Well, not it's a whole lot of stuff I still don't completely understand. A whole lot of stuff I still don't completely understand, but I've seen and kind of know enough now to where definitely have a whole lot better understanding of how to even vote now. But you know, if you listen to the prophetic anointing, the prophetic ministry, you would know. We would have known a whole lot of stuff that, especially that went on during COVID, and especially when, and yeah, that's right. I have to remember that you have to use some code when you talk about certain things. But if we had been listening to the prophetic ministry, we would have had a better understanding of what was going on when they was trying to make us take you know, we would have known, church. I hate that. Well, there were churches that were actually taking part in giving it out, dispensing it and everything, and got money for it. And I, and I'm just a little bit not too happy about that. You would think that seasoned saints, but especially leaders, preachers, would have known what this was really all about. You know, really in all of this, the whole thing is, I believe that there's a reason as to why God allowed it. While it has come and it has exposed a lot of things. The word talks about how judgment comes to the church first. And, I believe that to a certain degree, we have seen, the church, God allowed the church to endure some judgment and some shakings, and that was for the purpose of exposing who the real ones are. And, and during that time, we kind of found out, who some of the real ones were and who. Now, I don't believe that I believe that maybe there was maybe some pastors and leaders that really, really, maybe didn't completely understand what was going on. Maybe certain, I don't know. My thing is, why didn't the Lord give everybody, the revelation of what was going on? Maybe there are certain things that churches, even though some churches are doing a good job of teaching salvation and holiness and living before God and everything, I believe that there are still some things that some churches are neglecting to teach, especially some black churches. And some black churches, there are certain things. Well, there's black churches, black and white churches. And when I say, black, white church, I'm just talking about churches where see, that's another thing though. But churches where it's predominantly a certain race that attends that church. And with God, there ain't no black or white church anyway. And I believe that's one of the things that God had to deal with in all of this. But we would have understood things like, COVID came in because of, first of all, America's just down spiral in turning its back on God. But I believe one of the main things that COVID was a judgment on, and I say that because when I say listen to the prophetic ministry, some major people that I like to listen to, Rabbi Jonathan Cahn, he himself is not, he doesn't necessarily give prophecies, but he talks about a lot of prophetic stuff, and he talks about a lot of the correlation between America and Israel, and a whole lot of things that went on with ancient Israel that's going on here in America now. One of the things that that was very interesting to me that he talked about one time, it was when he was dealing with something called the Shemitah, and he was talking about how, just like how we had a 9/11, and then 19 years later, COVID-19, well, it was the same way with Israel. They had a 9/11 type of attack in which it was like a warning shot on the nation. But they, in defiance, started talking about, oh, we will rebuild and this and that, And, you know, when it comes to that, it took me a while to realize that one of the Biden's administration slogans was build back better. I was like, ooh, you know, when I saw that. And I don't remember seeing it until maybe a year or two later, you know. I saw something with him and something about a slogan about build back better, and I was like, ooh, I I remember that, you know. But I mean, I understood what was going on even where it was sort of developing as the 2020 election was going on, you know. A lot of us, you know, just thought, you know, Trump was supposed to be president for a second time. The prophet said this and that. But what I didn't like was how so quick, you know, just because it didn't happen the way that we thought it was going to happen, oh, they must be false prophets, and you know they said Trump was going to win, and you know he didn't win, and this and that. Well, a few things I want to say about that. Me, you from me here, you ain't gonna never hear me say no stuff like that. Trump did win, uh, and it wasn't none of no fair election. Um, but you know, I truly believe that just like I keep saying, if we had listened to the prophetic anointing, we would know all of this. But we would rather listen to CNN and hey, I can throw Fox in there. Fox was, from what I understand, Fox was about the first ones to announce uh, Joe and Kamala being the winners. Hold on a second. Yeah, they were the first ones. At one point, I thought, you know, I think I could trust this Fox, you know, but actually, it's wrong to be totally biased on one side either way, you know. I see how a lot of stations are. I see how a lot of stations are biased towards either the Democrats or the Republicans, you know. And actually, to a certain degree, that's not completely right on either side. I know, and to talk very plainly, I know the Democrat Party is an evil, wicked party, but the Republicans, you know, they not all together. They I would rather vote Republican than Democrat, but I know that Republicans ain't completely all together as they should be. Matter of fact, one of the reasons why the Democrats get their deeds done so effectively a lot of times is because of how well they stick together. The Republicans, you know, this whole like I'm constantly making this reference to us listening to the prophetic ministry, but you will learn through that God has been dealing with the whole government system. He has been dealing with both the Republicans and Democrats. I believe that God is uh, maybe repositioning the Republicans, giving them a such maybe sort of like a hard repositioning, and the Democrats. I believe that God is bringing a judgment on the Democrats that uh, I believe pretty soon going to be kind of visible. One of the things that, and just like I'm saying, if we listen to the prophetic ministry, uh, one of the biggest things that God has been dealing with is that issue with women's rights, women's reproductive rights. You know, God has been dealing with that. I love, I love the fact that Roe versus Wade was overturned. You know, God used Trump to do that. God used Trump to set up the Supreme Court to be able to get that done, even under a wicked and evil uh, liberal administration. liberal and conservatives are words that I just recently learned within the last few years too. I probably had been hearing those words, you know, for years and years, but you know, I wouldn't even, didn't even have no iota of what they was even talking about. Didn't even really pay no attention. But now I understand, you know. But you know, the point I really want to get to though is, put it plain and simple, you know, that whole liberal Democrat that's being controlled and puppeted by what's called the deep state. Now, I can't explain to you every little thing about the deep state. All I know is the funding from George Soros and some other people that's about what elite globalists and all of this and that, you know. But, you know, these last, especially after Obama, and, you know, you see Biden doing it, and Kamala, first thing she did when she got nominated was go and, you know, pretty much show you the agenda that they gonna continue to try to push. But you know, that everything, and see, that's another thing, everything that is connected to what's called wokeness is what they want to push. Everything from the way that they want us to bow down to the LGBTQ movement, with everything from gay marriage to uh, wanting us to, you know, acknowledge a person that chooses to be the opposite sex, wanting to pass laws and legislation to penalize people if they don't adhere to that. You know, I believe that's what the Equality Act is about, that they haven't, that I believe God is holding that back, you know, because of the persecution that would cause, especially amongst Christians. You know, God is allowing a level of judgment to come on America, and He's allowing the church to, you know, we just saw all these pastors, ministers that, you know, that has been exposed lately. You know, God is allowing a level of that, but I believe He's holding back certain things, you know, was, you know, that knowing that if that gets passed, if that gets into rotation or whatever, that's gonna bring about some major persecution, and God is kind of really holding that back for right now. Uh, we but yeah, this whole agenda that's being pushed with that, and then yeah, the absolute biggest thing is socialism. They're trying to push a socialist agenda into America, which of course leads to communism. And you know, well, lately it's been a lot of, you know, it's just like how they want to accuse Trump of being a dictator. But first of all, he never became no dictator in his first presidency. He never, and as a Christian, I understand that he never passed not one policy or law that went against God even at all. But ever since the Biden administration been in, what are they trying? What are they constantly talking about? How they want to, enhance abortion rights. They you know, coming up talking about gun control, which really translates to they want to take away everybody's weapons so that we could be powerless against them. See, one thing about the Democrats that I've learned is they know how to craftily do things where they make it sound real good, like it's something that it's a real good deal, but they have that underhanded agenda that they're trying to push. Yeah, that little sneaky little underhanded agenda that they're trying to push. Uh, yeah, so that's oh yeah, the thing. And that's the thing. Everything that they try to accuse, or that they try to make us believe that Trump is trying to do, is exactly what they're trying to do. But we and especially Christians, and especially the black church, we all they got to do is throw out that fishing hook of, ooh, he racist, somebody being racist and all that, because they know that we, no doubt, will bite that. No doubt. We will, just no doubt we will bite on that. But yeah, we will no doubt, all they have to do is tell us somebody being racist, or they tell us, they're trying to stop black people from voting. They're trying to stop black people from doing this. They're trying to stop black people, and mostly in talking about the Democrats, talking about the Republicans. And we, the word tells us that false accusers will not go unpunished. I wonder what does that entail for those who go along with false accusations. And see, what I've discovered that it's almost like we just totally overlook stuff. Just like when I said Trump never passed not one ungodly policy or law that went against God or anything. And then on top of that, one very important thing that we as Christians need to understand and look at or know about a candidate is their stance with how they intend to, or well, you can see how they're doing it, but how they intend to treat Israel. And see, Trump was the first president in our lifetime to honor Israel the way that he did. Every time that we've had a president in the past that dishonored Israel, that's when we had those, economic crisis. That's when we had, major disasters, whether it was earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. Senior Bush's beachfront house was destroyed in that storm that they called the storm of the century that formed in the off of the East Coast, and then went backwards into the United States. And his very house was one of the ones that was destroyed when he was over in, I think it said something about Madrid, Spain, or somewhere where they was negotiating talks with Israel. And one of the most dangerous, some of the most dangerous things that they do is try to broker a two-state solution with Israel. Whenever they try to do that, that's you setting your country up for disaster when you try to do stuff like that. I've heard prophets. I remember a particular prophet that said, this guy from India he was talking about how God was showing him. And I live, right here in Memphis, right by the Mississippi River, and he was talking about how not too far from the New Madrid fault line, and he was talking about how there had been talks or negotiations about how they want to divide Jerusalem They want Israel to divide Jerusalem with Palestine. And he said the Lord was showing him that if the United States was involved in that and it and it and it was successful, they were successful in doing that, that the United States would be hit with an earthquake so powerful caused by the New Metric fault that it would actually divide the United States land in half. And scientists have said that I have heard that the scientists have said that the New Metric fault has that capability to do that. As a matter of fact, the 1811, 1812 earthquakes formed what's called the Reelfoot Lake. And if you look at the very map of the area of Missouri, around Tennessee and Illinois, Kentucky, somewhere around there, and you can see how the land kind of hooks around or something like that. I believe that they have said that the earthquake actually caused that land to twist like that, and somehow it caused Reelfoot Lake. It caused the land to, I guess, come apart to the point where the water from the Mississippi River rushed into that area, creating that lake. And if that happened today, that could be some major destruction. Memphis, St. Louis. I believe that there was an army map that I've seen years ago that was showing like the Mississippi River, 20, 50 miles wide or something like that. And, the eastern and western half of the states that border it, just, completely deformed. Memphis gone, St. Louis gone, and all that. Well, I believe that that's a possibility, because and just like I was talking about Senior Bush, where Junior Bush, when he was involved in making the Israelis move out of that land where the Palestinians been attacking them now, when they made them move from there, that was when Katrina hit New Orleans. And Katrina hitting New Orleans probably about the worst disaster that we've ever had in our lifetime here in the U.S. And just think, those were Republican presidents. Or you probably can say Republican presidents, quoted fingers. I don't know. Probably other than Trump, Reagan probably was the last real Republican president that we had, in all this time. But the thing is, this is some reasons why it's important to vote. And we know we need to know the right one to vote for. Martin Luther King made the statement about, judging people by the content of their character, but not by their skin color. But that was what Martin Luther King said, See, there is a such thing as, the Bible says when the righteous are in control, the people rejoice. But when the wicked reign, the people mourn. Now, people have definitely been mourning lately under the wicked leadership that we currently have. currently have. Uh, you know, yes. So, Trump may not seem like a Christian, godly person, at least not right now, but he might not seem like a Christian, godly person and all of this and that. But, I refer back to the prophetic ministry. First of all, there was a guy that prophesied about Trump way back in the earliest I guess the earliest video, or the earliest that they say that he prophesied, it was like 2007. It prophesied that he would be president, but it also prophesied a lot of things about him that was dead on. Said he would have hot blood. I believe the Lord saying, that he was gonna disguise him. He wasn't gonna look like exactly a Christian godly guy. But guess what? He when he first come to office, and this is one thing about the fact that he would have 2 terms. But when he first come to office, he wouldn't be, the prophecy said something like, he wouldn't exactly be a praying man, But when he come in the second time, he will be a praying man. So that is what I'm, waiting to see, him to be a praying man, but for him to be president, period, But the praying man part is the most important part because I'm like, when you really think about it, if he wasn't much of a praying man the first time, and you look at the stuff that he did, and he fulfilled the things that was prophesied that he was going to do. I mean, there were no new wars under him. He changed the economy like the prophecy said, and then he was about building the wall to protect this nation. And he got some of it done, But now, you got this administration that's putting this country at risk because they are allowing illegal immigrants to come in to build a voter base for them. See, but somehow, and that's another thing that I've had a big problem with in these last few years, as I have discovered all this, is how is it that you, and especially as a Christian, how is it that you I just don't understand. How is it that you just okay with certain things to the point where, I mean, if we supposed to vote the Bible, you got, just like lately, you had some Republicans in Louisiana, Oklahoma, that was proposing, or I believe that they have made a law now that the 10 Commandments must be visible in classrooms now. And, they're not making it no big, they said, it ain't no big thing that as soon as you come to the classroom, it's all in your face and all that. It's something that you have to be standing close to it to even see it and all that, but it's got to be visible in the classroom. And I thank God, praise God, hallelujah for that. I've heard some fellow Christians got a problem with that, but ain't paying attention to stuff like, the push for the LGBTQ, the, push for gay marriage. There's this thing that's going on where it's known about in California, especially, where the governor want to allow children to be able to get transgender surgeries without the parents' consent. And then if the parents try to interfere, well, they get penalized. Possibly, from what I hear, possibly jail time. Now, well, I just don't understand, yeah, Trump may be a little talkative, a little extra talkative, maybe a little wild and all that. But like I said, when he was president, you never saw not one ungodly policy that was passed. Oh, yeah, the point I wanted to make was I believe that there was a difference between, a person that's ruling righteously versus a righteous person. A person don't have to necessarily be righteous to rule righteously. See what I'm saying? A person don't have to necessarily be a wicked person to rule wickedly. Which, well, I guess that could happen, but I'm just like, how can you, what it's just like we as Christians, we just totally overlooking a whole lot of things, and I mean we just join in for just snap. We join in with every accusation against, especially when it comes to, the Democrats, accusing the Republicans of something, and then we just join right in with it. And especially when it comes to a racial thing, we just so quick to jump in with it. And it's like, and see, there was a particular incident that happened in Nashville. Okay, when I look at, when they was talking about like January 6th, and, there was, everybody just, so quick to join in with the accusation against Trump for January 6th and all this and that he incited a riot and he ought to, he committed treason and he ought to be, even saying he ought to be unalive for that, Christian people joining in with that. But, all they showed was everybody, Fox, everybody was showing that one little looping video where in the video you could see police actually moving barriers, letting people in. But everybody's showing that one looping video. But Tucker Carlson comes along, and I believe this is the reason why Fox fired him. He comes along and show a video that nobody else has seen that got somebody free from prison. Now they still I think they still have to be on parole and all that, but the whole thing is they just wanted to charge him. They just wanted to make it look like, he was just being pretty much a MAGA criminal, a MAGA supporter that was doing this and that, But the evidence came out that he wasn't even doing what they tried to accuse him of doing. It was still wrong for him to even go in the Capitol like he did, but he wasn't doing what they was trying to charge him with. And, Tucker Carlson showed that video and got that person freed from having to have to be in prison wrongfully, But there was that incident in Nashville where Justin, I forget his last name, but Justin, I had met him before. He, I graduated from, we went to same high school, but he graduated like 2000, I think 3. I graduated way back in '96, but he went to the high school that I went to, and Justin Peterson, I think, or Pearson, I think his name is. But he caused a little ruckus in the capital, the Tennessee capital. And here we go, black people going getting behind him. Now he go in there with the bullhorn, breaking the rules or whatever. But it was okay for him to do that. But Trump didn't even have nothing to do with people breaking it. And see, it came out. I believe this came out about that the videos about Antifa people were caught, dressing up like they was Trump supporters. I remember people on the radio that I was listening to said that they was there and they saw those people dress up like they were Trump supporters, and they started that riot. But of course, the news media. That's another thing about listening to the prophetic ministry. You will learn that the news media is the modern day false prophets of Baal. So yeah, the news media, been just telling us a whole lot of lies. All these lies about Trump, all these lies about just like how they tried to cover up, Biden's health and condition. Now they come out and tell you, now ain't that a trip? They come and tell you that he's too incompetent to stand trial when he's been caught having committed a crime. But they just ready to come up with something about Trump. Come up with something about Trump and put him on trial, just like that. But when evidence come out against Biden, oh, he's too incompetent to stand trial. But yet he's sharp and he's strong and sharp enough to be the president. But that debate that debate showed us otherwise. Right before that debate, those are just deep fake videos and all that showing Biden, not knowing where he at and having brain fogs and all that. That's just deep fakes. But the debate prove what the truth was. But here we go, still foolishly. Oh, I'd rather have a half-dead president than to have that crazy Trump, pretty much. So, it's like, I see how it's like a wool that's been thrown over people's eyes, one party and even amongst Christians, one party sit up here and then that they trying to honor God, but the other party up here letting you know that they ain't trying to honor God, but yet you'd rather get on their side just because, oh, us black people, this and that, and all them Republicans just full of all them old out of touch white men and all this and that, And I'm like, wow. So both the Bible don't. I guess it really don't mean nothing. But wow. But we just need to understand the truth. We need to understand the importance of voting. We can't have the attitude of just, oh, God is in control and he's gonna do this and that anyway, or we can't have the attitude of they it don't matter who you vote for. You've been voting for years and all that. You vote for them and they win and they don't do nothing and they don't do nothing for me, this and that. Well, first of all, why are you constantly worried about somebody doing something for you? Do something for yourself. And see, there is a side that wants to allow you the opportunity to do for yourself, and then the other side wants you to learn how to depend on them. See, and see, it's like I said before, they are trying to push, America, into communism, so that they can pretty much seal the deal with having the whole world at their fingertip. America is the only place where, it's the last holdout, so to speak. But yet, God is in control. There are, now there's a lot of other communist countries. They might have like a very soft level of communism, but then there are some that are very drastic. And what is one of the things that they do? Persecute Christians, kill, torture Christians. But God is on the throne and He is in control. And you got the ability to vote to keep that from happening to you, while you talking about God is in control. He is in control of giving you, putting the power in your hand to do it. That's what He's in control of. And see, if you don't vote, yeah, that's a whole nother thing I want to get into about that too. But if you don't vote, guess what? You have casted a vote. Now, I'm almost want to be like, some people, that the way that I hear them talk, I almost want to be like, well, shoot, I'm kind of glad that you don't vote because it sounds to me like, now there are some people, like I said, they'll say, all ain't no good candidate, ain't none of them good, ain't none, all of them bad, all of them evil, they'll say that. But there are some that even though they say that they don't vote, it's almost like they lean towards, well, let's just say the wrong side. And you almost want to be like, you know what? I'm almost glad that you got the mindset of just not voting. Especially if you think like that. Maybe you don't need to vote, because you most likely, and the way that a lot of Christians, are looking at things from more of a external view instead of a deep internal view, you most likely gonna say, well, that Trump guy ain't no Christian, the way that he do this and do that and do that, and Joe Biden and Kamala, they don't talk all crazy and stuff like him, So maybe they are the better choice. You got people that think along those lines. And as Christians, we are to examine things from a where the Bible talks about, look at the fruits, and in this case, it's really more like, look at the fruits that are produced, in this, in their particular political position. They might, They might produce some bad fruits in their personal life with certain things, but but politically, it's almost like it's a whole 360. It's like you know, there are people that can be being used by God to do certain things, but they themselves don't know that they're being used by God. But but guess what? We on the outside looking in, and I'm talking about outside of that person looking in. That is what we should be able to see. That's what we should be able to acknowledge. That ain't nothing but God. This person might let cuss words come out. Every other word might come out of his mouth, and he might you know talk about the women and doing this and that. But when he did that right there, that wasn't nobody but God. Uh, when Trump honored Israel the way that he did, that was God. When he set up the Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade, that wasn't nothing but God. Well, Trump flip flopping now. And see this another thing. All Trump talking about you know abortion ban law being too extreme now. Uh, Trump ain't pro life anymore. This and that. I can't vote for neither one of them. No, see, yeah, and see the thing about that I wanted to go into is something like this. One part about it is okay. If you don't participate, it is possible that things could work out like this. If you don't participate in voting, and we get the right person in, and they bring prosperity back to the nation, and you got people prospering in their jobs and businesses and all that, but because you didn't cast a vote, somehow it's just like how when God kept the children of Israel safe from the plagues that he was bringing on Egypt. Well, this could be sort of a flip flop of that. You not benefit from the blessings that are coming forth because you didn't participate. Now, actually, to a certain degree, I believe that would be a better thing than the other option, and that would be how blood would be on your hand if the wrong person get in, and then, like I said, they shift this country into communism, and they get to the point where they persecuting Christians to the point where they really want to, believe me, the devil really want to get to the point of, just like the medieval days, killing Christians, or just like they're doing in different places of the world now, killing Christians. Well, guess what? If you didn't vote at all, that would be your fault. And see, and just think about it. In that case, where if you voted and you voted for the right person, and the wrong person get in, but yet you would still be benefiting from blessings and protection, while others, are suffering. You see, you see it. Hey, it could work like that. God, God can fix it to where it works like that. I'm not, saying that He's gonna do that. I'm not, wishing that on you, or nothing like that. But sometimes, God is God. He can work things like that. Uh, it's just like how with this abortion issue, one thing that when you kind of trying to help people understand, one thing that really came to mind is about just simply the law of sowing and reaping. What you do to another human being, you sow that to be done to you. It doesn't matter what state of growth that human being is in. So now it's one thing, for the doctors that perform the abortions or the people who go to get an abortion done and, and all that. But if you if you are in full support of abortion, then that the whole curse or whatever can come on you too. And and that's what I believe COVID, like I said, if you listen to the prophetic ministry, you will learn that actually COVID was a judgment on abortion. So you could you not voting, you not voting, and then despite the truth that people have told you, about certain things about people, about who's running, about what they're trying to do, and you still vote for the wrong one, I believe either way could put you in one of those, situations. Now, yes, I believe that you can repent and, ask for God's forgiveness and he'll lift that off of you, and ask him for the knowledge and understanding, about who to vote for from now on and who to listen to and all that, That's one thing that you always have to do is always give people room to for mercy. There is a way that you can have mercy, But oh yeah, yeah, okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is how just like how God allowed the children of Israel to wander around in the wilderness for 40 years because of, and it really was because of a mindset. It was a mindset that he allowed a generation to die off before he allowed Israel to go into the promised land. Well, that's another thing, So many of us that think that think the way that we think, concerning voting, well, God could let things go around, just for that group, seemingly just for that group, that'll be the group that'll constantly be hollering, how they ain't do nothing, ain't nobody doing nothing for us, while you got somebody that probably really is doing something for you. Case in point, we got a lot of black people that still want to talk about how, Trump never did nothing for black people. Well, maybe it's because you didn't benefit from it, He gave money to colleges, from what I understand. Now, that's about the only thing that I know of, that he specifically did for black people. And really, to a certain degree, I don't need nobody to do nothing for me just because I'm black. I'm not looking for no reparations. God said he has given you the power to get wealth. So I'm not looking for nobody to give me no reparations. And, and I really hope that certain parties or whatever don't try to promise to do that, because really for them to do that, well, coming from the Democrat Party, it's most likely going to be a pandering point. Now, if the Republicans claim that they're going to do it, it might still be pandering. I don't know. But I don't know. They might mess around and actually do it. But if I never heard Trump promise no reparations. But if he did promise it, I don't know. I believe Trump might mess around and actually do it. But as far as I'm concerned, I ain't looking for no reparations. Because God said, I give you the power to get wealth. And if God gave me the power to get wealth, then guess what? That's my reparations right there. Who you think God is? Don't you think God got all the wealth that anybody need? Or above, I forget exactly how I said, above all you can think or ask. I ain't, but anyway. But my point was, about the scenario of you wandering around while everybody else is getting their blessings, or they are receiving the results of voting the right way and all that, but you still stuck on they don't, no, none of them do nothing for nobody. I don't care who it is, this and that, Well, God could have, see, that's another thing. God could allow you to, that group to just die off until he can get a generation that can see when he is blessing them, when he is using somebody to bless them, and they acknowledge it, and they receive it. See, so hey, you can do what you want to do. I can't tell you to vote. Can't tell you who you better vote for, this and that. I can't tell it to you like that, but what I can do is at least encourage you, give you some reasons why, for both of those, both of those reasons. I truly believe, I believe according to what has been prophesied that, let's just say the right person will get in. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say Trump will get in to serve his second term. I believe now, and see, I believe that it ain't going to just be all, Trump get in and everything just going to be, just fine and dandy. No, I think there's going to be a time where God is giving us another chance. And we can't play around with it. We can't get laxical and you know what I'm trying to say. We can't be lackadaisical in it. We kind of need to be trying to press toward a mark, understanding that God is giving us another window of opportunity. And, even if Kamala was to get in and, we headed the wrong way, well, I still see, a chance for us to get some things right. We just might have a rougher time. Things might be a little rougher, which actually, to a certain degree, sometimes the worst brings out the best, especially spiritual growth. Because if you up here just, ain't got nothing to worry about, and you just blessed, and you just, got everything you want and need, and enjoying, riches and wealth, whatever, it's kind of hard for you you to be thinking about, you know, man, I better get right with God, man. I better, you know, I better pray and study the Bible. I better go to church. I better, it's going to be a little hard to think that way. It's going to be hard to think that way, but I do believe that some kind of way, I believe that, even when, I believe when Trump get in, that things might get better, but there's still going to be some growth opportunities throughout. And when I say growth opportunities, well, hard times bring growth opportunities. I don't believe everything under Trump just going to be, I believe like this, everything under Trump might not necessarily be all great all the time, but at least we won't be put under with a very dark and godless agenda. At least it won't be like that. But I believe under Trump, we probably still gonna even as good as the economy was under him last time. Well, hey, at the end, the hardships that COVID caused, came in while still under Trump. Now I believe that everybody, people try to say, oh, he didn't handle COVID well and this and that. Well, I believe God was really trying to use Trump to immediately defeat COVID. But because we didn't listen to him, because we didn't really listen to God through him, at least not on the, maybe some of us, maybe a few of us, but not on the level that God was trying to get the church to listen. That's the reason why, things fell apart, still kind of fell apart, even under Trump, But, I believe that, in this second term, I believe that things are going to be great for the most part, but I won't be surprised if like I said, we get some real growth opportunities sometime, because like I said, if we are just getting another window of opportunity to get right with God, God would actually be doing us a disjustice if he only let everything just be completely good the whole time. You see what I'm saying? But yet, like I'm saying, the agenda that's being pushed that they're trying to use Kamala to do, no, that's something that's just trying to just do it, get us like that. God has given us an opportunity to escape that, but yet still, I mean, we things got to be at some level that makes us still acknowledge and realize our need for him, some kind of way. So, that's pretty much the way that I see it. So, we only got a few more weeks. Early voting starts. We're here in Memphis that I know of. Early voting starts on Wednesday. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get my vote in. As bad as they don't want Trump to win, I know we've already seen attempts, and then we saw. I know that some people might beg to differ for me to even say this, but we have seen some quite a bit of weather manipulation. We saw, and I was like, with that strike on the ports, I was kind of like, just think about it. How, it came about and then it was over just like that. That ought to tell you, that the way that it came about and then it was over just like that. That ought to be a little bit suspect. I believe that it was like we were scared to believe that a crisis was about to come about, just like the other incidences with the ports and the ships and all that. We was we were scared into thinking some uh, crisis was about to come about, and then next thing we know, that's the end of it. Like, okay, everybody already did their panic shopping and all that. People went and bought tissue, just like at the beginning of COVID. So these next few weeks, I don't know. Maybe I've heard quite a people say, to stock up or make sure you have, whatever you need on your money or extra fuel, food, or whatever. Because I don't know how things gonna get. Because a lot of those the Democrats, the deep state and all that, a lot of them know the kind of trouble that they fixing to be in if Trump win, and to see a very possible third attempt. I believe these attempts are gonna keep coming. They gonna keep coming even throughout the presidency. But we'll see.